All right, we're going to take a look at some notes here from Chapter 9. The entire Chapter 9 is called Transformations, and we might as well start with that first definition here. A transformation is a change in position, shape, and or size. So basically, something's going to change. Okay, it can move, it can change shape, or it can change size there. With this transformation, there's going to be 4 major transformations. We're going to work with one that is called translation. We'll talk about that in a second. But all 4 movements are all fall under one umbrella called transformations. There's going to be a pre-image and an image. The pre-image is kind of like the original image. Pre means before, and so you're going to have a starting point or a starting image. It could be a triangle, it could be a 4-sided figure, and then you are going to ask to do a transformation on it. It could move, it could flip, it could shrink, it can grow, and the new image is just going to be called an image. This is the new image. Instead of using pre, they probably should have called this post image, but they just went pre for before, and they don't use the word post image. But when they use the word image, that means the new image. And we'll explain these 2 words in a minute. Isometry is basically saying the word congruent. That's a good enough definition. Alrighty. I said there were 4 different types of transformation. This first section, 9-1, is going to be on what is called a translation or a slide. This is when all the points move in the same direction and distance. So we're going to have a figure, and the figure is going to move. But everything within that figure either moves to the left, moves up, it moves the same direction and the same distance. Okay, we'll see examples of that like in number 2 and number 3. We're going to start off with an easy one here. Does the transformation appear to be isometry, which is basically saying congruent? There is a pre-image, which is the original one, and then you have a new image, although you're just seeing 2 images on top. But basically, are they congruent? Are they isometric? And in this case, yes, they appear to be congruent. And here's a pre-image of a triangle. Here's a new image of a triangle. Clearly the triangle moved a little bit, but it's still, I shouldn't have used the word congruent. I should use the word isometry, because that's what they want. So it's just yes or no. This would be a yes. They appear to be the same. Okay. Now if you see a triangle that's 3 times bigger, then you would say no. But it can move, but as long as it appears to be congruent. Okay. So what is this first type of transformation? Translation or a slide? Let's go over this. It says, use the rule. And then because we're on an x, y coordinate graph, they start off with parentheses x comma y, then an arrow, then it says x plus 7, y minus 1. So this is really the rule of this type of transformation. So you're going to have x comma y in parentheses, and then there's an arrow, and then it does a certain type of movement. To find the translation of triangle LMN, graph the new image, triangle L, and there's a little tick mark above this, M tick mark, N tick mark. This little tick mark is called a prime. So it's L prime, M prime, N prime. So when we make the new triangle, instead of using 3 new letters like A, B, C, we're going to put L with a tick, M with a tick, N with a tick. So you have this pre-image here. This is the original image here. You can see where L, N, M, and N are. This would be called, just for vocabulary's sake, this is called a pre-image. This is where we're starting with. And we are going to move. Well, how are we going to move? The x value is going to be plus 7. The y value is going to be minus 1. Now you got to just think about this logically. X is left to right. If you are plus 7, that means you are going in a positive direction, so that means you go to the right. If this said x minus 7, you'd go where the negative numbers are. You'd go to the left. Y, like the y-axis, is either up or down. Most people can figure out when it's a minus 1, it goes down. So we are going, plus 7 really kind of means we're going to the right 7 spaces, and minus 1 means we're going down, minus with the y value. So what we're going to do is there's 3 major points here on the triangle. I'm going to focus in on point L. I'm going to go 5 to the right with L and 1 down. So I'm going to go, 7 to the right. So I'm going to go 7 to the right and then 1 down, and then I will put a dot there. This, instead of using X, Y, Z, I'm going to say L prime. So I'm going to put an L there with a little tick mark. That little tick mark is the prime. That's where the new triangle is going to be. Do the same for all 3 points, because in translation they all move in the same direction and the same distance. So we're all moving to the right, 7 spaces and down 1. So move it 7 to the right and 1 down. So this should be where point N is. And then from M you count 7 to the right and 1 down. And then here is the new M prime. With the ruler, just connect the dots. And this completes what we would call a translation. And they also say a translation is called a slide, because it looks like literally the figure just kind of slides over. Okay? So again, this is the rule of a translation. Now let's do this second box here, and it's pretty much this problem in reverse. They're going to give you the picture, you write the rule. So write the rule for this that describes this translation. So you're going to have triangle ABC without the tick marks, and then ABC moves, and they have this arrow, A prime, it's kind of hard to see, B prime, C prime. We're going to write the rule for this. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. And the way we're going to set up the rule is we're going to first just say parentheses X comma Y. Just kind of get used to it. That's kind of like, this is how things originally start. Wherever the X value is, it could be 7 comma -2. But it's going to move a certain direction. And this is going to be the key here. I'm going to put X, give myself a little space. I'll put a Y, give myself a little space. All right. So for the X's, let's just focus in on A. It went from A to A prime. It clearly moved to the right, so that means it's going to be add. And how many spaces did it move? It moved 4, 5, 6. Looks like it's +6. And it looks like it went down 1 space, so that's a -1. And all of these should fill in the same exact movement. B should move over 6, down 1. Point C should have moved over 6, down 1. And so this is the rule for this translation.